Raiders! It's Raiders Fan Radio, a podcast by Raiders fans for Raiders fans who are the only fans that matter. That's right, Murf and Sonny from the Dago Dungeon. You got it right here, live.
Touchdown! Kenny Stabler goes all the way.
We miss you, we love you, and we'll see you in the Hall of Fame.
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing. Just win, baby.
Well, I love this team. I think this team can win. I think this team can win.
Well, Al, I know you're not talking about this year's version of the Raiders because we're all wondering if this team can ever win again. Welcome in to episode number 51 of Raiders Fan Radio. This is the Bruce Irvin episode. And when I hear Bruce Irvin's name, I'm inclined to want to sing the old song by Will Ferrell, and I think her name was Sherry O'Terry or whatever, when they tried to find the perfect cheer, when they were searching for Bobby Fischer, when they sang that song. Murf, what was that song? Play that song for us.
For sure you ain't no Bobby Fischer, Bobby Fischer. Where is he? I don't know, Bobby
Brucey Irvin, where are you? I don't know. Where is Bruce Irvin? How come he's not coming off the edge? How come he's not helping out Khalil Mack? Brucey Irvin, where is he? I don't know, but still, episode 51 is the Bruce Irvin episode. Murf, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, Sonny, and you know, I have a sound clip in return for you.
Bring it.
In response to the Bruce Irvin, where is he? I don't know. Well, you know what? A fantastic trailer came out actually before last week's show for the new Star Wars movie. Ooh. And after this last game, Sonny, when the Raiders dropped their fourth straight, it reminded me of a line that came out in that Star Wars trailer.
This is not going to go the way you think.
That's right. This season is not going to go the way that we think because, Sonny, our Oakland Raiders are now 2-4.
Okay, so this episode, we're going to get right into it. We got a good interview with Austin Gayle. He writes for Pro Football Focus. He's helping us to make sense of the stats, what's going on offense, what's going on defense. You can find him on Twitter at Austin Gayle, Gayle _PFF. Again, he's with Pro Football Focus. He shed some light for us. He spent about 20 minutes breaking down the Raiders stats and what's going on. And then after that, Murf, we're going to ditch the 3 reasons segment. Typically, we do a 3 reasons segment where we give 3 reasons why the Raiders will win and 3 reasons why the Chiefs will win. But you know what,
because this one could be 30 reasons to none.
Yeah, we can't pull 3 reasons why the Raiders are going to win. So we can't do this segment. But no, here's the real reason. We had 13 voicemails on the Sea of Fans mailbag. 13 voicemails in the Sea of Fans mailbag. And we're gonna just play those and rap about it and talk about it, and that'll be the show today. So this is like Raiders Vent Radio, Raiders Rant Radio. Maybe that's what we'll call it. RRR. Raiders Rant Radio. This is supposed to be Affable Take Tuesday, but Murf, I'm still fired up about it, right?
Yeah.
Still fired up about it. I could have asked Austin 1,000 more questions. But anyway, so after the break, we'll play Austin's interview, and then we'll jump into a bunch of voicemails. And but first, we're going to hear from our always even-keeled, never too loud or boisterous, Uncle Mark.
Hey, boys and girls, this is Uncle Mosh. That's right. Somebody actually claims Sonny and Murf. These two. Check them out on their website, RaidersFanRadio.com. You can friend them on Facebook at Raiders Fan Radio, or you can like their fan page at Raiders Fan Radio Podcast. Hey, I don't tweet. I don't even know how to use a Twitter, but they do. You can tweet them at Raiders Fan Radio. Call them. Leave a voicemail if you want. Go old school. 909-345-3346. That's 909-345-3346. Hey, do this. Please subscribe and rate Raiders Fan Radio on iTunes. You can listen to the show on all podcast services like Stitcher, TuneIn, Podcast Addict, and many, many more. Okay, am I done? Did I say all the stuff I was supposed to say? All right, I'm out of here.
Thank you, Uncle Mark. All right, Murf. Austin joined us from Pro Football Focus, dropped a lot of knowledge, dropped it quickly. Might be the only man I've ever met who can talk faster than me, and it was pretty cool. So we'll play that interview for you right meow. All right, Raider Nation, as previously stated, we are now blessed with the presence of Austin Gayle from Pro Football Focus. You can find him on Twitter at @AustinGayle_PFF. Austin, welcome to the show.
I'm glad to be here, man. It's a pleasure.
Austin, the first thing we always ask a guest of the show is where did their Raider fandom start?
Well, it starts back in Oakland, California. I'm an Oakland, California native. And my dad, brought me into it. My dad's from Oakland as well, and he bleeds silver and black, and he helped me bleed it too. We had season tickets for my entire middle school, high school career up until I left for college to San Diego State. So, diehard Raider fan. I've been upset for a long time. I've been through the era. I've been through the Jamarcus Russell, the Jason Campbell, Aaron Brooks. I don't want to name names. It's all there. I've been through it all. So my fandom has started with a lot of everyone's fandom in the dumps.
So you were born and raised in Oakland, then go to college in San Diego. What was that like being a Raiders fan down there?
In the years that I was in San Diego and the Oakland Raiders were both in kind of slumps, per se. It wasn't in the LT era where LT was torching us for 4 touchdowns a week. So I was able to get by. We actually scored a couple wins. I went to the San Diego Oakland game every year, of course. I had to. I was used to going to 10 games a year, including preseason. I had to go to at least one. So went to that game every year, and we ended up winning the last 2 that I went before I graduated here in May. So it was all right. San Diego, and as you can see, doesn't have a huge football following. Not a lot of people love San Diego Chargers when I was there, and when they lost, they were like, eh, and when they won, they were like, eh, and that's why they moved to Los Angeles, of course.
And now they're like, all over again in a different city.
Definitely. Just a big for the Chargers.
So, Austin, let me ask you just a question real quick. Was last year an anomaly? You mentioned you grew up in the dump years of the Raiders with all those quarterbacks, all the head coaching changes, all that stuff. And then all of a sudden we start, putting some stuff together. We get some pieces, Del Rio, Carr, Mack, Cooper. We have the 12-4 year last year. Now we're sitting at 2-4. I'm hearing people starting to say, same old Raiders, same old dysfunction, can't do anything right. We all came into the season thinking, this is it. We've turned the corner. We were 12-4 last year. If Carr doesn't get hurt, we're going to the Super Bowl. Now it's starting to shift back the other way, saying last year was the exception. This is the rule. So which is it, do you think, in your eyes?
I think last year showed, how much we have improved, just significant improvement over the years. And it's what everyone wants it to be is, we turned the corner. But I think it was just another step towards gradual improvement, unfortunately. Derek Carr had 7 comeback wins last year. He doesn't win half of those, and we don't make the playoffs. If you remember some of the games, Carolina Panthers, the pinky game, maybe we shouldn't have won that. That one goes the other way. It's bad. It doesn't go our way. You look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, one of the most penalized games for the Raiders I've ever watched. It was the most cringeworthy game I've ever really seen. And we maybe shouldn't have won that game, but we ended up pulling out because of Carr. Look, week 1, the 2-point conversion to Crab, that was an insane win on the road. That just doesn't happen. That's not easy to reciprocate. That's not easy to repeat. And that's why when you look at the 12-4 record, I do think it's an anomaly. I think it was, we won some games that maybe we shouldn't have won, i.e. Tampa Bay, Carolina, you look at New Orleans, and there's some other games that maybe we shouldn't have won, but that we were able to pull out due to heroic efforts from Derek Carr and our offense. Now, Derek Carr hasn't been himself. Obviously, you have the back injury. He's missed a game. And then you also have the offense changing significantly. I cannot emphasize enough how much this offense has changed in terms of play calling, in terms of scheme, in terms of it all. It's so different. So it's not a surprise to me that Derek Carr is struggling. It's not a surprise to me that the offense is struggling, given how different this offense is from last season.
Amy Trask this weekend kind of took Todd Downing to task, if you will, and stated he broke something that didn't, or he tried to fix something that wasn't broke, essentially. And you just stated the offense is vastly different. So was she correct in her statement there?
Absolutely. She's 100% correct. Derek Carr is on pace to throw 24 fewer deep throws, conduct 73 fewer play action passes, and 108 fewer passes after 2.6 seconds after the snap in 2017 compared to last season. That is a significant offensive change in the passing game. He's throwing the ball, he's attempting passes way quicker after the snap than he did last season, not allowing routes to develop, not allowing deep passes to come forth. He's throwing the ball deeper at a significantly lower rate than his entire career, despite, and I think you can also agree to this, that he has one of the prettiest deep balls in the game when it's on fire, when it's moving, and I think that's something he's improved since Fresno State. And then you look at the play action. People want to say the run game's not working, that's why they're not running it. The Raiders are on pace to run fewer play action plays than probably most of the NFL offenses that have played in the PFF era since 2006. That's not okay. Todd Downing is a rookie offensive coordinator who is not calling the right plays, and he's changed this offense when it was already firing on all cylinders. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, and he's trying to fix something that was not broken.
So do you think that is just I'm the new guy, you're going to do things my way, I'm going to show you how great I am kind of approach by Todd? Is that what he did?
I hope that's not what it is, because that's a bonehead approach in my opinion. I hope is what he thought, that his changes could make this offense from a top 5 offense to a number 1 offense. I hope that's what he went in. I hope he didn't go in thinking he needs to change it to put his stamp on it, because that's just not the way things are going to work. And maybe that is why maybe he did go in with that, and that's why it's struggling. The Raiders last season ran 64 outside zone runs in the entire season. Through 6 games, they have run 70 outside zone runs. They've tried to run outside zone way more than they did last season. And you want to say it's because Marshawn Lynch ran it in Seattle. I get it. But the offensive line wasn't with him in Seattle. The offensive line is good at running inside zone, power, and counter plays. That's how they performed. That's how they were a successful rushing offense last year. Now they're trying to run outside zone way more than they ever should. No wonder Gabe Jackson's struggling. No wonder Donald Penn and Marshall Newhouse aren't able to get to the edge and aren't able to create run lanes. They're running a completely different offense from what they did last season, and people are blaming players. That's just not okay. You can't blame the players in this situation. The Raiders' offensive line is still good. The Raiders' offensive line is still one of the best. But when you ask them to do things that they didn't do last year in terms of one, in the run game and pass protection, they're no longer running the 6 offensive line play that they ran 126 times last season, 26% of their total plays, which isn't a lot, but when you don't run it at all, it changes a lot of things. They're running a lot of different that is a change in pass protection. There's so many changes made on the sidelines this season, whether it's Todd Downing, Jack Del Rio, whoever you want to blame it on, that have impacted the play of the players. You just can't blame the players at this point. Maybe one player you could blame is Amari Cooper just because of the drops, but other than that, you can't blame him.
Man, you spit out a lot of information fast. That's fun. A couple ways I wanted to go, but I'll just go with this one. We brought on Lynch. We thought on top of what we already did last year, he was going to make us that much better. He obviously has a more decorated career than Murray. Well, maybe Murray turns into something great. Who knows? So do you think because of the addition of Lynch, that's why we shifted it so much? Like instead of saying, hey, Lynch, you learn to run a different way, we told our offensive line, hey, you block a different way, and that was maybe the wrong way to do it?
I think it could be a combination of both. It could be a combination that Todd Downing likes or favors the outside zone run, and adding Marshawn Lynch paid into his scheme, and he's glad Marshawn Lynch is there because he runs a lot of outside zone. It's a combination of both. I think they want to run outside run because that's what Marshawn Lynch ran in Seattle, and that's why he was successful. And maybe Todd Downing also favors outside zone run schemes. I think that it's a combination. But regardless, when it doesn't work, changes need to be made. That's the bottom line. If it's not working, you need to fix it, or your season is going to go down the drain, and you're going to lose whatever momentum you had from last season. I think you gotta go to Marshawn Lynch and figure out other ways, and go to the offensive line, go to Mike Tice and figure out, okay, this is not working. We need to be better. We have the players, we have the potential, we have the skills. We just need to put you guys in the right plays and put you guys in the right formations to get this done.
Austin, this is Murf. First off, appreciate you once again joining us here on Raiders Fan Radio. I have a question for you about the defense, but I do want to ask you one offensive question before we transition over to the other side of the ball. You talk about the wholesale changes that have happened on offense. I read today that Derek Carr's fewest in completed passes of more than 20 yards downfield as far as starters that in the game right now. What has led to these wholesale changes? The reason I'm asking is that we were told in the offseason that Todd Downing was going to come in. He wasn't going to make these wide sweeping changes. He was going to make maybe some terminology changes, a few small tweaks here and there to the existing Musgrave offense, and they weren't going to move away from what the Raiders were doing well. So what was it? What was it that led to this? And do we see it going back? Is again something else that I saw today was that Todd Downing is pretty steadfast in his approach on this thing, that he's not looking to make changes. Do you make any sense of that at all?
I think it might be a combination of Todd Downing maybe calling some quicker throws. It has to be because Derek Carr is on pace to throw 108 fewer passes after 2.6 plus seconds after the snap, meaning he's staying in the pocket less. He's throwing the football way faster than he did, whether that's calling more 3-step drops or he's afraid to get hit. It's a combination of both. You have to think it's a combination of Derek Carr doesn't want to stay in the pocket to take any more hits on that leg or any more hits on the back or whatever it may be, and Todd Downing favors a quick passing game. It has to be that, and that's why the deep throws aren't coming out. You can't throw a deep ball 20-plus yards if you're throwing it in 1.83 seconds like he's averaging this season. That's just not going to happen. The guys aren't that fast. I think you need to let him run a 5-step drop. You need to let him sit in the pocket a little bit longer. The offensive line is good enough to protect. You have to give faith in that offensive line and let them protect long enough for the longer routes to develop. And Michael Crabtree and Amari Cooper are very good at running deep routes, especially if you give them some play action, give them a little bit more time to play to develop. You're able to see those deep routes come forth.
Is that what has led to, I think, what could be a misleading stat as far as the offensive line performance? And one of your numbers that you had was the offensive line has given up 46 fewer pressures, or on pace to give up 46 fewer pressures, but they're also on pace to give up 21 more sacks than prior year. Is that because the ball is coming out so fast? And what do you take from that? In one way, it's an improvement, right, on last year, but then we look at the amount of sacks. Heck, I mean, the guy got sacked, once last year?
Yeah, I mean, he got sacked. Derek Carr ended up getting sacked 8 times last year. He's on pace to get sacked, like I said, 21 more times. And I think it's a combination of pocket awareness. I think Derek Carr is not responding to pressure the same way he did last season. He's not more willing to get hit as he throws as much as he is willing to embrace for the sack and take the sack. Not willing to take hits and throw the ball away. He's one of the least hit quarterbacks in the NFL, whether not sacked, but at least hit, in terms of he's not throwing the ball and getting hit at the same time as much as other quarterbacks are, which, is rightfully fair if the back injury is serious, if it's still lingering. And then I think the next thing has to be is the Raiders offensive line might just be allowing more sack-worthy pressures where the entire pocket collapses and, maybe the offensive tackles don't allow for Derek Carr to scramble out of the pocket, or maybe he's unwilling. Those sack-worthy pressures are turning into sacks. And regardless if they're allowing fewer pressures, Derek Carr must be able to work with the fewer pressures and get the ball away and not allow those pressures to turn into sacks at such an alarming rate.
Austin, I have one more question for you. I want to jump over to the defense and ask about the performance so far. Yes, it's improved over what we saw last year, but I think that it could be misleading when we look at the stats, and I think that there's been some healthy debate amongst Raider fans here over the past week about we kind of expected the defense to be a weak spot for us, but we figured that if they could hold teams to 17 points, under 20 points essentially, that our offense would be high-powered enough to win the game. But when you look at the stats that they have as far as takeaways go, not having any interceptions, they're down at the bottom as far as total sacks, third down conversion rate, or as far as stopping teams on third down is one of the worst in the league. What do you think are the most important stats on defense in order to dictate actual performance, things that take the game situations into context?
I think when you look at their actual stats, I think people want to say they're improved, and I think that's because they're playing better than the offense. I don't think the defense has improved significantly. I think they're meeting expectations, if not slightly exceeding them, but the expectations set for this defense were very bad. Everyone coming into the season thought Raiders are going to have to score 30 because their defense has given up 28, but they haven't. They've been giving up fewer points than 28. They've been playing a little bit better, and whether that's red zone percentage, they've not allowed teams to score touchdowns in the red zone and end drives with touchdowns. They force field goals. Even though they allow the first 4 third downs, maybe they stop on the critical one and force that field goal. They've done good. They've bent but not broke, which is a hard stat to really see. I think the stats kind of show that this defense is still not that good. I think it comes to the secondary. It comes to the linebacker play. People want to blame the linebackers all day. Navarro Bowman might be a slight upgrade, but it's not going to change this defense dramatically. But Khalil Mack needs help. The guy is getting triple teamed more often than he's getting single teamed, and that's not even factoring in how often he gets double teamed. It's ridiculous. Bruce Irvin only has 10 total pressures this season, on pace for a very low amount, and he had 55 last season. If you have 10 now, divide that by 6, times that, he's on pace for less than 32 this season. And he had 55 last season. That allowed Khalil Mack to get triple teamed, and the Raiders still convert. If there's no opposite edge pressure, and Khalil Mack is going to take on a tight end, a running back, and a right tackle, this defense is not going to thrive. You need to be able to create sacks on the opposite edge. And if Bruce Irvin no longer has it in the tank, you need to start drafting for it, because Shalik Calhoun's not enough. James Cowser is slowly getting to that point where he's serviceable, but he's never going to be that perennial edge rusher. You need to start looking at another edge rusher to pair with Khalil Mack, because if you look at Von Miller, he has Shaquille Barrett, and Shaquille Barrett has become one of the most dominant run defenders because he's not double teamed. He's become one of a dominant pass rusher because he's not double teamed. You have that, just like when Von Miller had DeMarcus Ware. That's how they're thriving. That's how the Broncos defense is still very, very good. Khalil Mack needs that dynamic duo, and we thought it was Bruce Irvin last year because he had a very solid season. That dynamic duo played well, but Bruce Irvin is not panning out this season. He's not performing as well as he did last season, and it's hurting the defense very bad.
Austin, from your perspective at Pro Football Focus, you guys are heavy on numbers. How big is the fact the Raiders are not getting turnovers on defense? How much does that weigh into maybe momentum shifts, the chemistry, offense is struggling, defense makes a turnover, offense gets recharged, comes on the field, does something good. The defense is playing a little better than advertised, but we're not getting turnovers. How much does that affect the team? And then B, what do you credit to that? Why are we all of a sudden not getting turnovers like we did last year?
I think teams are more able to pick apart the Raiders defense on a play-to-play basis because they've done a pretty good job of eliminating the big play this season. The big play was a very, very big emphasis for Jack Del Rio last offseason, and that was one of the first things we said after the season press conference, is that we need to stop the big play on D, and they've done so. But in doing that, teams aren't no longer testing them that deep because they know they can pick them apart with the 4-yard runs, the 6-yard dump off to Melvin Gordon, the 4-yard dump off to Melvin Gordon. They're able to pick apart, and that's why the third down efficiency is so low. That's why yards allowed is so low, but that's why they're not allowing that many points. They're not allowing those big 50-yard gains that like they were last season, and that's why the points are so low. In terms of turnovers, I think it's very big. Turnovers help a bad offense. So when the turnovers aren't happening and a bad offense is happening, that's when you're going to start to see losses. Defenses don't need to turn the ball over at an alarming amount when the offenses are able to turn poor field position into touchdown drives. But right now, the Raiders need all the help they can get. They'd love to have a drive start on their, the opponent's 20-yard line, but they're just not getting it because there's no turnovers, and it hurts the Raiders most. It hurts the Raiders the most because their offense is struggling. It's such in a deep hole.
All right, Austin, we got to get you out. We're limited on time here. Thank you so much for coming on. And one last thing before we let any guests go, we like to have everybody kind of give a message to Raider Nation, right? The Raiders are moving to Vegas. People are pissed off at the players. People are pissed off at the coaches. We're 2-4. Some people feel like we were sold a bill of goods after last year. We thought this team was going to be great. Now they're, we don't know what's going to happen on Thursday night. They could surprise everybody and win. They could get, absolutely slaughtered. What's your message to Raider Nation as a whole? What's your message to the fan base at this current time?
My message to Raider Nation is to, one, take this start to the season as a learning opportunity, and that we need to temper our expectations. We have one big season, one good season, and expectations go through the roof. We expect Todd Downing to be the next coming of Bill Parcells, and we expected Todd Downing to be everything, and Derek Carr, as long as he's healthy, is great. And I don't know, when the expectations get so high, you allow yourself as a fan, and this is a fan radio station, to just get broke down, to see the Raiders lay an egg on Sunday Night Football against the Redskins and feel just hurt at every part of your core. And then this 4-game losing streak, it allows you to just break down, and then you start, shooting expletives at Todd Downing on Twitter and doing all this, asking Jack Del Rio to be fired and all this stuff. But it's all because the expectations are so high. And yes, it looked like we're in the corner, but it's growing pains right now. We've made some mistakes, and you gotta hunker down, lower your expectations. Watch this thing play by play, and help this team rally out of it rather than screaming at Todd Downing on Twitter.
But he's listening, right, Austin?
Yeah. I hope he's listening, because I think I've tweeted out a couple things, and people have quoted them with Coach Todd Downing's Twitter handle, and especially about the play action. I hope he sees that he's running play action at an NFL historically low amount to where, okay, I'll run more play action. I just hope he does. I just hope he if there's one thing I hope he pulls from my tweets, which I don't think he pulls anything from, it's run more play action, please.
When the hook and ladder's running so effective, you don't need to do play action, right?
I almost sent out a tweet actually saying the Raiders have run, a league low, this many play action passes, on pace for just the worst since 2006 or whatever, but they do lead the league in freaking hook and ladder plays.
If there was ever an emphasis on getting too cute on offense, it was the hook and ladder.
But if that goes first down, I see half the Raider Nation Twitter just I love that, and creativity by Todd Downing. It's just so hot and cold.
Yeah, that to me reeked desperation, didn't it?
No, it did. It definitely did.
The announcer even said it. He goes, "That's something you don't see," because no, you don't call that unless you're losing, in the last seconds of the game. So I don't know. Anyway, we want to get you out of here. We had a time limit. Appreciate you coming on. Again, it was Austin Gayle from Pro Football Focus. You can find him on Twitter at @AustinGayle_PFF. He's always tweeting out really good stats that help make sense of what's going on this season, and maybe tempered expectations is what we all need to have. And so once again, Austin, thanks so much for coming on. Hopefully better times lay await for us. I don't know.
I really appreciate you guys having me on.
Thanks, Austin.
All right, once again, we want to thank Austin Gayle from Pro Football Focus for joining us. You can find him on Twitter at @AustinGayle_PFF. Murf, I didn't even ask him about the concept of growing up a Raiders fan, but then now writing for a site that's predominantly known for the numbers it puts out. That must be hard, right? Objectivity versus subjectivity and stuff, And as the Raiders continue to play not up to the standard which we all wanted them to play to, that seems to be a growing debate amongst Raider Nation, Murf, is there's the fan perspective of fire everybody. That's the crazy fan says that, right? The fan has just had enough, fire them all, start all over, tear it all down. And the other side of it is, let's look at it from an objective point of view. Here are the numbers. Here's what's wrong. Maybe not fire everybody, but we need to tweak some things and stuff like that. So I thought it was pretty cool that he could come on and drop those numbers. And really, it makes sense why the offense is struggling when we're running literally no play-action passes, when we've shifted the whole entire blocking scheme to a scheme that we didn't do last year, and when really what Todd Downing said in the preseason, which was that, and you pointed this out, that he wasn't gonna overhaul the offense. He was gonna tweak it a little bit. But it seems like he's overhauled it, right?
Yeah, so first off with Austin, thanks not only to him for coming on, but I think it's a cool story that, he grew up a Raider fan. Dad was a big Raider fan, season ticket holder, very similar to how our fandom was formed. And so that's always cool to hear. And I asked the question, and I think this is where, after now having a couple of days of this, and then now, or to kind of process this, and then watching Todd Downing's press conference today and hearing some of the things that he had to say, I think this is what's got everybody so wound up about in regards to Todd, is that it's not what we were told. And when not only do you fall short of expectation, but you move completely off of what the messaging was prior, that's what's got everybody so freaked out, because this is not, everything for this team was absolutely trending positive for a good year, right? And then all of a sudden we fell off a cliff. And, it kind of started with some of the offseason stuff. It started with the Conley thing. It started with the Sean Smith, allegation. It started with Donald Penn holding out. Then it kind of transitioned over into the anthem thing and all. It was like all these things slowly started to happen, and then bam, then all of a sudden the team performance falls off a cliff. And now here we got this guy that's going, oh no, everything's fine. We just need to stick to the plan. What? Well, huh? Like, what do you mean we need to stick to the plan? The plan sucks. Like, and I'm all about, make a plan, stick to the plan, execute the plan. I'm all about that. But when the plan is completely different than what you had already had success with, that's the part that everybody's struggling with. And it's taken us now 6 weeks to finally see, because now we have a large enough body of work at hand to be able to analyze and go, well, no, that's way different. Because after week 2, did you and I, were we screaming about, oh, they're doing too much zone blocking scheme? No, we didn't know. We didn't know enough, and the team is winning. Well, now that the team is losing and everything is getting nitpicked, now all these things are starting to surface. And the most disturbing part of all of this to me, Sonny, is a couple of things. Number one, I sang the praises of Todd Downing numerous times this offseason because he was going to have the strength to be able to get people in positions in order to enable their success. That he wasn't going to be I'm going to fit guys into my scheme. I'm going to build a scheme around the talent that I have. That is absolutely what he's not doing. He is adhering to this scheme. He is trying to shoehorn players into it. And he even said it today that he's going, not directly, but in a round enough way, that he's going to follow suit with what this scheme is, or whatever this thing that he's implementing, that he's not taking into account these other things. And that to me, Sonny, is disturbing because that's arrogance. And it doesn't matter if you're Greg Knapp or Nerve Turner or now Todd Downing. When you try to shoehorn your players into an offense instead of just letting them do what they do best, instead of just letting Derek Carr be Derek Carr, instead of letting, Lynch be Lynch, the line be the line, whatever it is, instead of doing that, you're trying to do it your way. It never works. I mean, and I know people get sick of hearing me talk about the Patriots, but nobody does that better than Bill Belichick. The Patriots don't have a scheme. Look at the Patriots and how they win year in, year out. It's different. One year it'll be, slot receivers. One year it'll be tight ends. One year it'll be the running backs. Sometimes it's all of them. There is no scheme. And sometimes it varies game to game. It's not even year to year. It's game to game. That's what you have to do to be able to be successful in the NFL long term. And these guys that have this hard, fast approach that say, we're going to do it this way and that's it, and are rigid in it, it never works. It never freaking works. And listen, I hope I'm dead wrong. I hope that this week we go out and we trash the Kansas City Chiefs, but they're not looking good, dude. Sorry. I think I had to get something off my chest there, huh? I'm just getting started. We didn't do Raider Retort, so we're still a little wound up. Raider Retort gets it off our chest. We didn't do it this week. What did it for me, Murph, was the hook and ladder play. That call, I believe it was 3rd and 12. We had the lead, and he calls a hook and ladder play. The announcer, I forget who was announcing the game, he said, "Oh, you don't see that very often in this situation." It was Gannon, right? It was Gannon and
it was Gannon. You don't see it very often because the intricacy of that play, the potential for a turnover, the potential for fumble, the potential for everything to go wrong with it is there, and B, it is a desperation play. The only time you ever see that play is when there's no time on the clock or there's 2 or 3 seconds left and a team is trailing by a touchdown or less and they have to go the whole distance on a kickoff return or a deep pass or something like that. That's the only time you ever see anything remotely close to a hook and ladder being run in the NFL today. Now, one could say, hey, he's innovative. He's doing the hook and ladder. Oh, that's innovation for you. No, that is desperation for you. And that, to me, when I seen that one play, and maybe I'm way off base. This is just my take on it. That one play told me this season is lost. This season is done. If that's what he's going to call on a 3rd and 12, where we need 12 yards to sustain a drive to get the Chargers off the field so we can go to win the game, and he's going to rely on a hook and ladder play, unreal, unfreaking real. Another one, I believe it was a 3rd and 1, or it might have even been a 4th and 1, and we finally did like that shovel pass, right? And we've been wanting to do it. Teams have been running it. It's been successful. The NFL's a copycat league, so you kind of hope the Raiders would do it. But he calls it on a crucial down. Like, why do you call it on a crucial down? Call it on like a 1st or 2nd down when the series isn't on the line, right? Or you don't have to punt the ball the next play or whatever. But like, something's up, man. And I kind of think that you're right. Like, I think he picked a lane and he's going to be stubborn about it. And he's going to say my offense is going to work, and that's it. And that's bad. I mean, I'm not an offensive coordinator, but in life, if you do something and it's not working, how long do you let it go on for? The NFL, not for long. It's not you get 5 years, Todd, to come up with an offense, and then then we're going to start judging you. No, you get now. Like we're judging you now.
Yeah,
we're
that's the
right
part
now.
That's the part that gets me. Is that not only are we in a win now league, but we're with a team that's coming off a 12-4 year, and despite or if it wasn't for a freak accident late in the year, probably makes a pretty heavy playoff push. I mean, so this isn't like we got the luxury of let's see what we can build here. No, it's got to happen now, man. Like you don't get a big grace period here. That's not how this works, and it's amazing to me the rigidity of it. I just don't understand it, Sonny. I don't understand. Go ahead.
Well, here's my question then. Is it Del Rio's fault then? Does it come down to Del Rio?
Heck yeah, it is.
Because Downing's a rookie offensive coordinator. Now, don't get me wrong. I was hyped when it was like, all right, Musgrave's gone. Bring in Downing. We all bought the Downing juice, whatever, the Downing, we all bought into it and thought, okay, this guy's going to kick ass. He's going to be great. Him and Carr are best friends. They hang out off the field. They're going to have this strong connection, and it's going to be awesome. We all bought into it. We all hyped it up, and then now look what happens. So it's like, are we guilty? Is the team guilty? Fault lies everywhere. But I think ultimately, and I'm not calling for Del Rio's head by no means whatsoever, but he is responsible. This is his team. When you the first play of a game, when they throw it deep to Mike Wallace and you have Sean Smith lined up on Mike Wallace, that is on Del Rio. That's not on Sean Smith. That's not even on Ken Norton Jr. That's on Del Rio, man. He is the freaking head coach. When you got your offensive coordinator calling a hook and ladder, that's on Del Rio. And then for Del Rio to come out and say to the media that we knew they were going to go to the tight end, that's kind of throwing his players under the bus, man. I didn't like that at all.
I think is one of the biggest. That is one of the biggest letdowns of this coaching staff's approach here of late. Is that whether it's Del Rio or whether it's Downing, it's all about we're going to stick to the plan. We're gonna, we're all gonna go to work. We're all accountable. No, basically you're saying that the players aren't executing. That's what you're saying.
Yeah,
that's all you're saying. Whether you're Todd Downing or Jack Del Rio, basically you're saying that it's the player's fault. And then here's the biggest rub of it is that we have an incredibly graceful guy in Derek Carr you hear him today. He's like, I'll take it. I'll take it all. I try to take it all. Yeah. And it's almost like they're I don't want to say they're taking advantage of that, but maybe they are. I can only go off of what my eyes tell me, what my ears hear, and it seems to me like there's not a lot of ownership for the coaching staff, and that's a huge mistake. Leaders eat last, right? Like you're supposed to be the one. You take all the blame when things go wrong, and you take you take none of the credit when it goes right. That's your job as the leader. And frankly, that's what this team is missing, is that it's missing leadership. And this week, man, it's kind of glaring that it's starting to miss at the top. It's real easy when things are going right? Winning cures all, and it's easy. But what do you do when things are adverse, right? What do you do when there's crisis? It doesn't matter if it's football or if it's in your personal life. People's true colors shine when things are tough. When you have a loss in your family, or there's something dramatic that happens in your life, that's when you really find out people's true character. Well, what is the Raiders' true character? What are we learning about the Raiders right now? That everybody's the scarecrow, that it's that guy or it's that guy. And then in the middle of it all, we got our quarterback going, yeah, man, it's all my fault. No, it's not, Derek. It's not all your fault. When you're trying to catch the defense in a bad position and you're trying to hustle a play in and get them up to the line and your coach is waving you off so he can get to the quarter, are you kidding me? Let your freaking quarterback go out there and be your quarterback. Let the guy that was at one point an MVP candidate last year go be a freaking MVP candidate. This is unbelievable, Sonny. You know what? I'm going to say this and then I'm done. Thank you to the Oakland Raiders organization for relieving me of the burden of expectation. Thank you very much, guys, because at this point going forward, I'm just going to sit on the couch and I'm going to watch football and I'm going to enjoy it for what it is, and I don't expect them to do squat from here out. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Now we can get our Sunday naps back. After
it's like the old days,
quarter.
Man. This thing's just over before halftime. Goody. Woohoo.
All right. I don't even know where to start. All right, let's just jump into the Sea of Fans mailbag, Murf. We got 13 voicemails. We could sit and rant all day long, but let's hear from you, the fans, not fans of us, fans of the Raiders. This is Raiders fan radio. We're not analysts. We're not trying to be, writers, nothing like that. We're just fans who love to talk about the Raiders. After the game on Sunday, I called Murf like 3 times. He wouldn't answer his dang phone. Let's just.
I was pouting, Sonny. I was pouting.
Let's vent. Let's vent together. It's therapeutic. It's a little bit of catharsis going on. Murf, it's so frustrating. And watch, Raiders gonna kick the crap out of the Chiefs on Thursday. Could you just see that happening? All this stuff going down, and then they just demolish the Chiefs. The one year where that would be great to beat them, but it's not even gonna matter because they're so far ahead of us already through 6 games in the season. Anyway, it's crazy. All right, let's jump into Sea of Fans mailbag.
There he is, fading, looking. He's under the gun. He's caught, he throws. It is. Oh, he caught
it. Sonny, it was a fantastic week as far as the Sea of Fans mailbag goes. We had an incredible response from, as you mentioned, Raider Nation out there, and that's what we're all about. So we're going to ditch normal format this week and just get out there and listen to hear what you have to say out there, Raider Nation. You can always call us at any time at 909-345-3346. You can leave a message there 24/7, 7 days a week, and we'll take that message and we'll play it on the show. It gives us a great opportunity to not only discuss some of the things that you have to bring up, but as a way for us to kind of share the overall message of Raider Nation, and that's what this is all about. It's all about us sharing in our fandom with one another. So we're going to start off this week, and we're going to head out west and visit with our buddy, Big Raider Trucker.
Sonny and Murf. It is your boy, Mr. Big Raider Trucker, calling you with excitement and joy. I just want to congratulate our Oakland Raiders on being this year's Super Bowl paper champion. There's a lot of people that went out there and said, gave us the hype. Oakland this, Oakland that. Cars got weapons. This defense. Todd Downey. Yeah, we got it. And look where we're at now, ladies and gentlemen. This is just really frustrating. I think the media got a little bug in our head, and that's where we're at now at this point. Really frustrating here to sit here and just watch what we're doing. There's a lot of people you can point fingers at. I know a lot of people are calling for Ken Norton's head. Now they're saying Todd Downing. To get into Todd Downing real quick, I don't know. The first two games started off fresh, obviously coming out with the 2 victories. Our offense was high flying, and we really couldn't be stopped. Obviously, it was against the Tennessee Titans and the Jets. But have you guys noticed this past couple weeks, it's really been the dink and dive offense that we yelled at Musgrave for. We really yelled at Musgrave and called for his firing or he was let go because of the dink and dunk offense. And it kind of just seems that that's what Todd Downing is doing now. Don't know what's going on with there. Is Carr really 100%? Is he not? Also, this defense is playing a lot better than last year. We will go ahead and say that the defense still has no interceptions this year, which is really a bummer. Hopefully that comes along. But if I read this correctly, I believe we're top 5 or top 10 in red zone defense, which is a boost from last year, obviously. The preparation for me from the team just seems off. How could we start off so hot and then that Sunday night game against Washington just get punched in the mouth? And it's really been a train wreck ever since then. It's just really frustrating, guys. Also, I just think going back to the hype we had, I guess a lot of us are guilty of it last year, going 12-4, and we thinking that we had it this year, and the media said that we were Super Bowl contenders. In actuality, we need to deal with the division first. How can we talk Super Bowl talks when we haven't even beaten the Chiefs yet? I believe we're 1-7 since Latavius Murray's coming out party. That Thursday night game. This Thursday night game is going to be very difficult, but we have to come out with the win. Losing to the Chargers and the Broncos already is really tough. If we lose this one in our division, I really don't see us coming out. Maybe another 7-9 season, if not 6-10. I don't know. Also, we just signed Bowman. That should be a good upgrade to the defense, but we don't know with that ACL. Let's see how that goes. Anyways, let me get out of your hair. I know I've been talking too long. Let's go Raiders, and let's just hope we can pull this together, guys. All right, you guys have a good one.
Thanks for the call, Big Raider Trucker. Murf, I think that's number 2. Climbing his way up to be a made man here very quickly in the Dago Dungeon. Murf, I think he's correct. We were the Super Bowl paper champ. and something I've been thinking about, and Austin pointed it out in his interview, how last year was the anomaly. Last year was not the new rule. We had 7 come from behind victories last year. So, say we only get half of those, we're 9-7, 8-8. We don't get any of those, we're 5-12 or 5-11. And so Maybe we bought in too much. And I've been thinking about the past couple days, like, am I guilty? Am I guilty for having the silver and black glasses on a little too thick? Am I guilty as a fan, not for my reaction to their record, but for the expectation I placed on them during the offseason? And Austin kind of said it. He said we have to temper our expectations for this team. And unfortunately, that's coming after the 2-4 start. And the Raider Trucker's right. The media, the fans, we all hyped it up, right? Looking back, I feel like an idiot from thinking, oh, yeah, let's fire Musgrave, top 6 offense in the league, and bring on Downing because somebody else is going to hire him, so we better hire him ourselves. So get Musgrave out, which is the second time Del Rio's actually fired Musgrave. And then bring on a guy who's a rookie. Like, it makes no sense in hindsight, but hindsight's always 20/20, right? So, Raider Trucker, you're right. They were the Super Bowl paper champ, and we all bought into it. And so, really, at the end of the day, we got to blame ourselves for overhyping this team. And the other thing I've been thinking about too, Murph, I think something's up. More than anybody's talking about. Something happened before that Redskins game, whether it was at practice during the week, whether it was in the locker room, whether it was at the start of the game. I think it was more than the anthem because every team that week had to deal with the anthem issues. But the Raiders seem to be the only team that hasn't really recovered their identity, if you will, after week 3. Something's up, man. I think something's up in the locker room. Something happened behind the scenes. Maybe there was some truth to some of those rumors going around. I don't know, and I'm not confirming anything. All I'm wondering is, or thinking is, something happened that's pushed this team. Their confidence is down. Their chemistry's down. You know, we still had Todd Downing the first 2 games of the year. Remember the opening series against Tennessee? 4 plays, touchdown, right? Lynch goes over the middle for 15 yards. Cook has that big catch. Cooper has that catch and push in the end zone. Like, Cooper week 1 compared to Cooper week 6. I mean, give me a break, night and day, right? And so I think, we're guilty. Raider fans are guilty of buying in too much, getting so excited about a 12-win team that all of a sudden we're like, we're here. And then 2, I think something's going on that the Raiders aren't letting everyone know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't necessarily buy into the whole conspiracy side of things.
Well, you're dumb. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, you know, I think that there's, you know, losing sucks and getting your teeth kicked in, you know, week in, week out. And not, I think the Raiders bought into their own hype. And I think that it doesn't matter who you are and what you do, that when you start buying into yourself, that's a very dangerous place to be. And it doesn't matter what you do in life, that pride always comes before the fall. And it, you know, not that you can't be confident, not that you can't be, you know, be sure of yourself. And those are wonderful things to be. But when you start kind of thinking that, you know, maybe you're entitled or, you know, the things are just going to come with some ease or anything. And not that the Raiders weren't working or not anything like that, but I think subconsciously something settled into them. I mean, we know our left tackle had a sense of entitlement. That's why he held out of camp. So, I mean, you know, I just think that those things, they tend to permeate. And when they do, and then they spin out of control, man, it happens. And it happens all over. I mean, it's not, again, this is not something that's unique to the Raiders. It happens all over sports, frankly, is one of the biggest, you know, areas of evidence of that. I mean, how many times do you see athletes, I don't care if it's Cam Newton or, you know, whoever, man, you start buying into yourself, things typically tend to go bad. That the guys that are humble, the guys that keep their head down, the guys that work hard, and not to say you can't be vocal and have fun or anything like that, but I'm saying, but the guys that just, they don't, their work ethic, their preparation, none of that changes based on prior success. I don't know if that's what happened with the Raiders or not. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm just saying that I would suspect that before I would suspect that, you know, there's some crazy thing going on in the locker room where, you know, the players have this infighting or there's somebody cheated on their wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I don't buy that necessarily. But anyways, all right, let's move back across all the way to the other side of the country. And we're going to talk to a few of these won't have names on, but we know that they called in from Philadelphia.
I blame the coach for that loss. He stinks. Okay. Yeah, maybe not him. Someone told me that. He's never going to take us where we need to go. I don't know about that. I've been a Raider fan for 40-some years of my life. I'm 52 years old. I can tell you I've seen a lot of stuff. Right now I'm seeing some garbage. Coop's playing scared. O-line stinks. Defense is keeping us in the game. Imagine that, right? Okay, well, all I can say is win, lose, tie. Raiders till I die, brother. Go Raiders. Stay in Oakland. Love you, man.
Appreciate you, caller in Philly. Maybe he's related to Will Smith, Murf. Who knows? JDR stinks. Does our coach stink? Does our coach stink? You know, you can't argue, right? He's echoing truth. He's frustrated. Cooper, what is up with Cooper? Right? Cooper is like a scared little freaking kid out there playing amongst boys, right? He got a little better against the Chargers. He caught some balls, but like, did you see what kind of ball, you know, they were like, did you see what kind of passes they were that he was catching? You know, it was all like little 5-yard slants.
Yeah,
it was nothing deep, you know, over the top and stuff, you know, and I think, again, Austin pointed to the fact that that Carr is on record to have one of the quickest releases, I think, of all time this year. But that's also a bad thing because we're not getting the deep ball, right? We're not giving guys time to run their routes and stuff like that. And then to the caller in Philly, to his point about the defense keeping us in the game, imagine that. I mean, that was all the talk in the preseason. This defense is going to give up 20, 25, maybe 30 points a game, but our offense is going to be able to overcome it and stuff. Well, no, it's been the defense keeping us in, right? Against Denver, 16-10. That was a winnable game for us. Against the Chargers, that was a winnable game for us. But yet, we're not. And so, yeah, it's garbage. It's freaking garbage. And of all the years we've been fans, think about this, Murf, all the years we've been fans, all those bad years, right? Remember just this 2010, 2009, just all those years, there was never the expectation to be good, remember? There was the hope. There was like, all right, Jason Campbell, 6-0. Oh, breaks his collarbone. Okay, we're done, right? So like there was always this hope of like 6-0 in the division. There was always this hope of us doing good things, but there was never like the expectation. And I think that's what stings this year is we had the expectation this year, and now this. So that's what makes it almost worse than what those years were.
Well, I think also he brings up a fair point, and this is something that I've had creep into my mind a lot this season, and I think that it's fair for us to start asking the question, is that when you look at where the team was when Jack Del Rio took over from Dennis Allen, it was about rock bottom. I mean, we were the laughing stock of the league, essentially, as far as performance go. Reggie started getting us healthy as far as the cap and things like that. So our front office had started to heal, but the performance on the field was pretty bad. There are, again, numerous examples in the NFL of coaches that come in and they're that middle ground coach. They're the coach that takes you from being a laughing stock of the league to respectability. But they're also not the coach that's going to take you to a championship. That there are coaches out there that have that championship pedigree or whatever that is, that once the pieces are in place, they're the ones that take you to that next level. They're the ones that launch you into the stratosphere. I would hate to pick on Tony Dungy a ton, but he was kind of one of those guys, right? That he was looked at, and in his career, not that he's not a Hall of Famer, and I know he's got a ring, but when you look at the success he had in Tampa Bay, and then how many years did the freaking Colts have the number one seed locked up by like week 12 every year and only got one ring out of it? I think it's a fair criticism of him to say that he was one of those guys that he was an amazing coach. He was an amazing motivator, an amazing leader of men, and he got the team set up, but he wasn't the guy to kind of punch it through to win the championship. It took somebody like John Gruden to come in and pick up for the Buccaneers to take them to get that ring, And so I just wonder, is Jack Del Rio one of those guys? Is he the guy that's going to win a championship for us? When you look at what he did in Jacksonville, it's eerily similar. And what happened with his back-end career at Jacksonville? They tanked. They came up. They were respectable. They were playing well. And then they started falling off. And now what do we see with our team? It's the same trajectory. So I don't know. I think it's fair that for the caller in Philly to bring it up. And I think that it's fair for us to consider that going forward. So, all right, now we're going to go back out to the West Coast once again.
So you're saying Jack Del Rio is a 9-iron and we need to hire our putter. Right.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know who that putter is going to be, but I don't know who it would be, but I think it's fair for us to start talking about it. All right, let's go to the 415. Let's go out to San Francisco.
Well, of course I love the Raiders, but let's be honest. This new offensive coordinator with it's 3rd and 12, and they throw this hook and ladder thing. Like, there's no confidence in that.
Thank you.
Ridiculous. And then, think about the fact that their pass protection has been great. But Derek, very frightened. $125 million. Don't want to, whatever reason. It's very frustrating. But, of course, we keep the faith. Maybe next year we'll be good. 2-4. And I guess that's it. No offense. Defense played pretty well today, but no offense. What are you going to do? Carr, 2 picks, bad passes, $125 million for that. Oh, well. Maybe next year.
No, Murf. Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. Say we're not already going. Maybe next year. That's the Cubs for 80 years. But look at them now, I guess. Like, oh, maybe next year. Oh, maybe next game. Oh, no, we can't say that just now, right? But again, he backed up my point. 3rd and 12. Hook and ladder. That is not innovation, people. That is desperation. If you think that was a good call and a cool call and you like seeing it, just tune into the end of a game that's ever down 1 score and you'll see it all the time. That is the most craziest thing I've ever seen almost in a game. On top of that, where's the play action passing? Austin pointed out we're on record, or we're on track to set, I think this is what he said, right? The lowest amount of play action passes ever attempted, right, in the history of the BFF.
Pretty close, yeah.
It's in the early 2000s, I think is when it started. Where is the play action pass? Especially when you have Marshawn Lynch back there, right? People have to respect Marshawn Lynch, and you brought in Cook. You naturally have a gifted tight end who's huge, who's a matchup nightmare against any linebacker or defensive back, and you're not going to run play-action pass with him? Like, what the heck, right? What the heck's going on? Is Todd Downing protecting his buddy in Derek Carr? I don't know. But, man, to the caller in San Francisco, maybe next – we can't say that already, can we? But, Murph, if we lose to the Chiefs, maybe next year. I'm on record. I don't mind keeping it that way. The Chargers game, that was our must-win game. We're 2-4. The Raiders could go into the Chiefs or the Chiefs game this Thursday and say, who cares? Let's ball out, and they could beat them. It's not going to change much. I don't think it's going to change anything, really. I don't see this team turning it around. So, yeah, as much as that makes me just cringe, I think he's right, man. I think it is maybe next year.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's no evidence that would lead us to suspect that the Raiders have a good look at beating the Chiefs, other than they're the Chiefs. And, Andy Reid's known to turn in some doozies now and then. And, they took their first L last week, so they're wounded. They've got to come to Oakland. It's been, 7 games or whatever it's been, or 5 games, however many it's been since we've beat them. So, it could happen. And if it were to happen, would that fix everything? No. I mean, it sure looks a lot better. If we can take care of the Chiefs, but it will start to right the ship. But I don't know. That's an awful tall order to have. Again, I don't have any expectation. I've been relieved of that expectation. I'm expecting a 40-point blowout. So anything above that, and we're doing good. I think that he also brings up an interesting point about Carr, and $126 million, and this is the kind of performance we're going to get. Here's again, to go back though, this is the good, bad, bittersweet part of Carr. I don't think it's him. I don't think this is on him. I think this is on Downing and it's on Del Rio, but he won't tell you that. And he's not the kind of guy that's going to take a subtle shot through the media. He's not the kind of guy, so if there is any dysfunction in the locker room, maybe that's what it is, right? Like you can see it's visible, the frustration. Last year we saw him running around, pumping his fist, jumping, doing that bear thing that he does where he goes like, where he's like, you know what I'm talking about, where he balls his fists up and he kind of like, you know what I mean? He does that. We haven't seen any of that this year. We haven't seen any of that from Derek Carr. Well, why? Well, if this is his best buddy, his guy that's like a brother to him is calling the offense, well, then why aren't you happy? Like what? Like, so I don't know. Something funky's going on, but I don't think that it's fair to pin it on Carr, although the point is fair. You're paying him all this money, and we're not getting any performance out of him. So something needs to change. Now, I'm not saying that somebody needs to get fired over it, but something's got to change. All right, so let's go up north, Sonny. Let's go to Grizzly Bear country and listen to a caller from South Dakota.
4-2 or 2-4. Still Raider Nation till I die.
That's it. That's all he's got. 4-2 or 2-4. Raider Nation until he dies. Amen,
well,
brother.
Murph, it's a valid point. And here's the deal. Like, we're posting all the time on Facebook, and not so much on Twitter and stuff like that. But, we love Facebook interactions. And sometimes they're pretty fun. I posted today, I said, something's up with the Raiders, blah, 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 blah. It got quite a bit of traction, but there's an idiot in there who says, only Trump supporters think this way. And it's like, you dummy, come on, really?
Gosh, come on.
A couple other posts were like, what are you going to quit being a fan? It's like, no, stupid. They could go 0-16 for the next 20 years, and I'll still be doing a podcast complaining about them, It's like, it's not like you quit being a fan, but at the same time, I'm frustrated, man. It sucks. This might be the most unenjoyable football year I think I've ever experienced. But with all the political crap going on in the league, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but like, don't bring that into sports. Sports is my escape. We can talk about that after the fact. But like, between all the anthem stuff, between all that garbage going down, and then you got, Kaepernick suing the league and stuff, and then you got the Raiders tanking. It's like, this season sucks, man. It's like, it's not even fun. I find I'm not even watching a lot of other games other than the Raider game and stuff like that, And so, like, it's starting to become really, really kind of not fun. But that said, I've been here before. I know what that's like. I know what it's like to wear my Raider gear and get heckled. Like, I'm cool, right? I had a cool 6 months where people were like, yeah, go Raiders. I was like, sweet, this is new territory, but I know this territory. I know it well, And sometimes I like it even better. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's what we know, right? It's what we're comfortable with, So it's like, oh, okay, I know.
And they talk junk, so you talk it right back, Like, yeah, I like this one. This is fun. But,
it's fun.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know. It's familiar ground when I walk downstairs and my wife says, "Well, how's the game?" And I just, hesitate, and she just looks at me and shakes her head, just gives me this pitiful look, like, you poor, sad bastard going back to the Raiders every game, week after week, getting the same thing. You just go in and watch your team and get your teeth kicked in, and just, why do you do this to yourself? You know what I mean? And she's right. But like you said, it doesn't make us not love them, and it doesn't matter. We are going to be, I loved it. I think it might've been you that said it. People that accuse us of, or anybody else, of getting off the bandwagon, or you can get off the band. You don't know what a bandwagon is, okay? We never got on the bandwagon. This Raider fandom was born in us. It exists in us, and it will die with us. There was never a step for me to get on a bandwagon, all right?
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter what comes out of our mouth, whether it be positivity, whether it be criticism, whether it be, praise or whatever. None of it matters. At the end of the day, our fandom is defined by our passion for this football team, and that will never cease. It's frustrating and mad and all that stuff. So quit it with that true fan, real fan, bandwagon fan, all that BS. Enough. It's tired. It's such a tired. You know what it is? It's easy. I would encourage you people, be more creative with your comebacks, huh?
It's like this, Murph, and we should go to a break after this. In honor of Derek Carr, that verse in Proverbs, this is the Raider fan right here. As a dog returns to its vomit, so a fool repeats their folly. We will always come back and root for the Raiders, despite them kicking our teeth in and kicking us in the nuts every single Sunday, despite the frustration with the team. Like a dog returns to its vomit, a fool returns to its folly. And the Raiders are a folly, and I'll be a fool for the Raiders all day long.
Jim Rome, star of the Jim Rome Show. Go to Nashville.
Let's go to Oregon.
Josh in Nashville.
Sonny in Oregon.
You made it in, Josh. How are you?
Jim, I'm doing great. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh.
Good, Jim.
Rock him, Sonny.
Welcome back to Raiders Fan Radio, where only one host has ever been racked by Jim Rome. Sorry, Murph, go ahead. Cut you off there.
I was not racked, but you know what? I did get, Romey was coming back with some killer response.
I got racked. You didn't get racked. Anyway.
Well, Brady Quinn got traded. I got cut off.
All right, let's keep going.
All right, let's head back to the East Coast and talk to a good friend of the show, made man here on Raiders Fan Radio and president of the New Jersey chapter of the Black Hole. We're talking to Chuck Splatterhead McCann.
Hey guys, Chuck McCann here.
I'm starting to think we may not be going to the Super Bowl this year. Look, coaching is atrocious right now. Third down defense, what's going on? First down, second down, we're right there, stopping them. 3rd and 18, nope, first down. And not just first down, but let's give them 20 yards on that. Look, we'd be in overtime right now if Kondo didn't flub that snap, but that's not going to save us. We're all over the place. I don't get it, but we got to do something. And where's our explosive offense? Why are we not able to sling that ball around and do what we did last year? What happened? I don't get it. I don't understand, but something's got to change, and it's got to change drastically. Anyway, hey, go Raiders, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Listen, the Chiefs lost. Maybe the Giants can somehow pull off a miracle and do us a solid, and then we'll basically be at the same place in the division that we were this morning. Anyway, love you guys, and talk soon. Bye.
Chuck, the Giants did help us out. Unfortunately, we're not in the exact same place we were because we're now one game behind the stupid Chargers as well.
How about the entire division lost except for the Chargers? Unreal.
Because they played us, right? Murf, he brings up a point that you were kind of going back and forth with our good buddy Scott Winter at the Winter Report, Raider Ramble, Las Vegas. Also now a credentialed Raiders reporter for On the Road. You and Scott Winter were kind of going back and forth. Scott Winter's been very complimentary of the Raiders' defense this year, but there's a couple glaring things about the defense, and Chuck pointed out one of them: third down defense. The Raiders are 28th in the league right now in third down conversions when it comes to being on defense. So the opposing team is completing 46% of third downs against them. And the league leader or the league worst is the Saints and the Niners at 48%. So we're right there. We're 46% of the time the team is converting. The league leader, Murf, is the Vikings at 25%, followed right by the Broncos at 26%. Defense wins championships, Murf. I know the defense has improved. I know if you compare the defense now through 6 games compared to last year I get all that. I know you can explain it, the numbers and the stats and all that. I know there are certain ways to make the defense seem like they're doing better, and they are. We held Denver to 16. We held San Diego to 17. I do get all that. I really do. But the fact is, to me, there's a couple huge stats when it comes to defense, and the Raiders are only 1 for 3 when it comes to this. You have third down conversions. If you give up a lot of third down conversions, typically you're not going to win a lot of games. The Raiders are giving up a lot of third down conversions, so that's a negative. Turnovers. If you have a negative, if you have a positive turnover ratio, if you're getting the ball more than you're giving it up, you're going to do well. The Raiders aren't really giving it up a lot, but they're not creating turnovers on defense. We don't have an interception. We're the only team in the league without an interception. Like, what the heck is that about, right? And then the third is points per game. Now, we're only giving up 21 points per game. The league leader is Buffalo, who's only giving up 14.8 points a game, who we have to play in a couple weeks. And then the league worst is actually the Colts, who are giving up 32 points per game. So we're kind of, we're closer to the good end on that, right? We're only giving up 21 points a game. We're 5 points away from or 7 points away from the league leader. So we're 1 for 3. We're doing okay with points per game, but we're not getting turnovers, and we're giving up too many third down conversions.
Yeah, and they're awful. I mean, there's never a good time to give up, to let people convert on third down, but they're always at like these critical moments, and that was the back and forth, we'll say, that I was having with Scott and others, was that those numbers, while they may appear positive. And look, there's no doubt that the offense by far is the most glaring letdown and the biggest
100%.
reason we're losing.
100%.
There's no disputing that. And I don't think anybody with any even a little bit of a football brain would watch the games and think that that's not the biggest problem. It is. But that said, if the defense is able to get off the field and give the offense more opportunities, then that's also a very good thing, right? And so when you're giving up these 3rd and longs, and when those numbers don't take into context the game situation and the context of the entire game, the rhythm of the game, like those are the things that they're just backbreakers. They're just backbreakers when you cannot get off the field on 3rd down. So I'm with Chuck on that. And, I don't think we're going to the Super Bowl either, Chuck. And, man, I'm telling you, once again, we've said it numerous times, but it seems to be a common theme with everybody. Our expectations were so high, and now we've come crashing down. And I think, if anything, Sonny, we were just desperate for another good season because we've had it bad for so long. But now I think this will all be a learning opportunity for all of us to temper those expectations, despite how good things may look going into a season. All right, so now we're just zigzagging all over the country. We're going back out to the West Coast. This time we're going to Southern California, and we're going to talk to Jim in Rancho Cucamonga.
Hey, this is Jim in Rancho Cucamonga. Today's performance was just atrocious. The wheels just seem to have fallen off the wagon completely. Todd Downing looks like he's not even trying, and Ken Norton is, as bad as we all knew. But I think the problem starts with Reggie McKenzie. That guy's been asleep at the switch for like the last couple of years. Did nothing in the draft, nothing much in free agency, and hasn't improved the team at all. I don't know if last season's performance was just an aberration, but right now the team can't stop anybody and can't move the ball. And if something isn't done really quick, I think this season is done. It's really a shame to see Derek Carr and Khalil Mack and Cordero Patterson just get wasted because of the ineptitude of the play calling and the defensive schemes. They're just like they put them in a position to fail week after week, and it's just heartbreaking to see it. I've been a Raider fan since 1966, and this is like reminds me of the Dennis Allen or the Jamarcus Russell period, and it's just sickening to watch. I really hope Del Rio can turn it around. I don't think it's his fault, but he's got some assistants that just aren't doing the job, and they're just not putting the team in the proper place to win. And I hope it can be corrected, but with the way the rest of the AFC West is going, it's a tall order. And but I really hope we can turn it around. I'm still a Raider fan for life, regardless of how bad they are. Peace.
Thank you, Jim and Rancho Cucamonga. I never even knew that was a real town, Murf. I thought that was just made up, like for movies and stuff. So that's pretty cool. Murf, that's 2 callers in a row on separate ends of the country that have used the word atrocious. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Chuck used it, and Chuck's a very articulate man. And then Jim used it, and Jim, he used atrocious and aberration. Those are 2 pretty good words there, Jim. A lot of points. His main point was go to McKenzie. What's McKenzie done? You were screaming all year about your middle linebacker, inside linebacker.
And now we got one.
What does McKenzie do? He drafts Conley, then he drafts Obi. Now, if they're healthy, I love those picks. But now we got a lot of issues going on with Conley. Ian Rappaport came out and said there was supposed to be a big doctor's appointment on Tuesday. Then Conley comes out and says, I ain't got no doctor's appointment. But yet, where is he? Why isn't he playing? Yes, he
Do you remember?
Yes.
Do you remember Baghdad Bob? Do you remember when we were invading Iraq and he was the guy that would come on TV and he'd be like, everything is fine. Everything is fine. Nothing going on here. In the meanwhile, we got like tanks rolling through the street, like blowing stuff up. And he's like, no, we're all good. No, that's what Conley is like to me. Conley's like Baghdad Bob. He's like, Raiders are like, Conley might have to have surgery on his shin splints. He's like, man, I even got shins. I don't know what these people are talking about.
I got my shins chopped off in college. It's like, okay, where's Obi? Where's our top 2 draft picks?
He's supposedly cleared to practice this week, so that will be huge for us.
And then where's DJ Hayden right now?
Oh, you went back.
Well, I'm just saying that's 2 number 1 picks. 2 number 1 picks, Conley and Hayden. I'm not calling Conley a bust by no means, but like he's not producing for us. He's not out there helping us. Where's Obi? Now Obi was maybe more of a freak accident, but it's like Hayden's somewhere else, and you know what, Murf? Hayden's not doing too bad where he is either. Hayden's actually doing pretty good. So Jim called out. He didn't really say it was Del Rio. He said the assistants. He said the assistants aren't putting the players in the position to be successful. I was listening to John Middlecoff earlier today, and he kind of goes hard at the Raiders, so. Some people don't like him because he calls it like he sees it. And he's been around the block. He was with the Eagles for a while, and, he's doing his thing. He describes certain players as un-F-uppable. Like, they're so good, no matter what you try to do to them as a coach, you can't F
Mac
them
is
up,
like
right?
that.
Yeah, Mac is like that. Except he said Clay Matthews is like that, and Mac is like that. But yet the Raiders are still almost doing it to Mac, right? By what I think, who was it? I think it was Austin who said it earlier. Because Irvin's
team.
Yes, and Irvin's not getting any pressure, and that's causing Mac to be triple teamed. So we're effing up a player who's un-F-uppable and stuff, And the same thing with Derek. Like Derek has a pretty deep ball. Like he throws a good deep ball. Why are we not letting him throw a deep ball? Josh McCown of the freaking Jets has thrown more deep passes than Derek Carr has this year. Are you kidding me? Trevor Siemian has thrown more deep passes this year than Derek Carr. You're telling me we have Amari Cooper who can high point a ball? We've all seen it. Remember the catch in triple coverage in preseason? You got Amari Cooper. You got Cordell Patterson who can just run by 3/4 of the defenders in the league. And you have Derek Carr who has a good long ball, and we're not throwing it? Like, what the heck is going on? And it sounds like a broken record, but it is. We're all beating our heads going, what are you doing, Downing? And then he comes out in the press conference and says, we're going to stay the course. Like, dude, I'm scared, Murf. I'm scared this is going to be a lost season.
Well, and Jim was the first one to bring up McKenzie, and I want to jump back to that real quick, is that there has no one been more vocal, at least in our podcast circles that I'm aware of, that's been more critical of him and what he's done in the draft here, especially this year, because of the absolute glaring need that we've had at middle linebacker. And, there's people that want to throw Markel Lee stats out there and, he ranks this or he ranks that. Yeah, again, smell test, eye test, ear test. What is he giving up? What are we missing out on? What is the game telling us when we watch a Raider game that Markel Lee, Corey James versus Reuben Foster or versus, Zach Cunningham or these guys that the Raiders had a chance to draft. So now, though, I'm going to give Reggie a little bit of grace because he got Navarro Bowman. And listen, Navarro Bowman, when healthy, is an absolute impact player.
And he's young, and younger. He's old, Murf.
He's only 29. Look, it's not like this guy's ancient, okay? He's only 29, and he is the kind of guy that will be able to prowl the middle of the field and take advantage of Mac and hopefully Irvin or James Cowser, whoever the heck it is on the other side, to funnel things inside so Navarro Bowman can do what Navarro Bowman does. And listen, not only is he going to have a huge impact on the play of the defense, but he is the leadership defensively, heck, maybe even for the whole team, that this team absolutely was desperate for. And we've talked a lot about, the impact of losing Charles Woodson and what that did to the team, his departure. I think somebody like Navarro Bowman is very capable of filling that type of a role. All you got to do is listen to him one time in his press conference, read some of the articles that came out before the season started when he was still with the Niners, as far as his expectations on a season, the way that he mentors younger players. All this guy is going to bring another level to our defense, not only to the performance, but the leadership of it. And I think, Sonny, that this is one of the biggest things that the team was lacking. Despite all of the endless criticism out there for the coordinators and everything else, Reggie bringing in this guy to do what he does will help turn this team around. There is an opportunity for the defense to spark the offense. If the defense does the things like gets off on third down, if they do create turnovers, that will create a spark in the team and a spark in the offense. And if you don't think it's important, I don't know if anybody, I do know somebody listening to us watched the Monday night game this last week. And when you got a quiet guy like Marcus Mariota, and then you got a pretty vocal leader like Wesley Woodyard, playing middle linebacker for the Titans, when you see these guys on the field, because I bring all this up because I had people ask me this week, well, how do you know they're not leaders? What do you know? And you're not in the building, and how do you know these guys aren't vocal leaders? And you don't have to be, hooting and hollering, rah-rah to be a leader. No, you don't, but you do have to demonstrate it through the course of a game. And when you watch the game last night and saw Woodyard and saw Mariota, you see Marcus Mariota grab Quentin Spain, a guy that is 3 inches taller than him and outweighs him by 150 pounds, and grabs him and pushes him away from the play and is pointing up at the scoreboard and takes command and control of his team. That's what freaking leaders do. Wesley Woodyard did the same thing on defense. He got his guys together. He led them on the field. That's what will turn this thing around, and that's what Navarro Bowman is capable of doing. And I think, I'm pretty sure that we have the kind of coaching staff that's going to give him the latitude to do that. So all the criticism I've given Reggie, I'm going to also give him the praise on this. This was a must-needed move for this team. Is he going to completely turn the season around for us? Look, I don't have an expectation that he would, but I think that it's going to make a huge difference, a much bigger difference for this football team and for this defense than what we expect by just purely looking at X's and O's. All right. Whew. I've been saving that one. I had to get rid of that one there. Sorry, Sonny. Okay. So once again, keeping up with our zigzagging, we're going to go back out, coming down closer to my neck of the woods, and we're going to go to Jinx in Atlanta.
Yes, this is Jinx, first-time caller, calling from Atlanta, long-time Raider fan. It is getting very sickening to watch the play caller. It is horrible. Ken Norton needs to be fired. Our secondary cannot cover anyone. No pressure on the D-line. And then for this game today, we're up 16-14 or whatever the damn score was, 16-14. You got the ball. You finished the damn game. Don't put the defense back out on the field. They haven't stopped anyone all day. Sean King had a great game, but, man, it is getting hard to watch, to continue to watch Ken Norton, this defense, and this anemic play calling on offense. I'll be heading down to Miami, and I was thinking that we can get a win today and a win on Thursday night. But, man, we got to make some changes. Got to have some balls to fire some folks. If you keep doing the same thing and expecting to get different results, that is the definition of insanity. Coach Del Rio, make some changes. Go Nation.
Thanks, Jinx. You can't argue, Murf. Play calling has been questionable for the last 4 weeks. And again, this brings me back to my point, Murf. Something happened, dude. Bigger than I'm not saying conspiracy theory. I'm just saying something is going on with the Raiders that is not being talked about. Something happened in the locker room. Something's up with the players. Something's happening. Because the first 2 games of the season, we did fine. We kicked the crap out of the Jets. And the Jets aren't bad. The Jets are better than the Titans are. Jets are halfway decent. If not for the refs being in it with the Patriots, Jets win that game against the Patriots this last weekend, you know? So, but something happened. Now all of a sudden we're not gelling. We were up 16-14, like Jinx pointed out. The first play, remember we got the ball back, I think it was like 6 minutes left? Yeah, I think it was about 6 minutes left. We got the ball back. 1st and 10, we didn't run the ball. We threw a pass. Did you catch that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What are you doing, Downing? What the are you kidding? Have you never watched football? Call a run. Get the clock going. Don't call a pass on 1st down. Again, I think he's trying to get too cute, man. He's not doing the basics. He's not doing the basic fundamentals. He's getting too cute in this play calling, right? We'll trick him on 1st down. We'll throw a pass. How'd that work for Seattle on the goal line? Hey, we'll get cute. We'll trick him. Like, dude, call the running play, get the clock going, and grind out the game, man. Jinx is right, dude. You got Marshawn Lynch and one of the meanest offensive lines in the game. On top of that, you have the highest paid offensive line in the game, and you have one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the game, and you have Marshawn Lynch, and you can't grind out a victory against your division rival at home. Dude, something is up with this team, and I believe it's beyond play calling, even though the play calling is atrocious. That's the word of the night, you know? So I agree, Jinx. I'm not sure if Ken Norton needs to be fired or not. I think that might be some carryover anger from last year. I think if anything, Ken Norton has done enough to keep his job. He's nothing great, but he's mediocre like we thought he was going to be, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens now because now the pieces are coming into play. You're going to have Obi Melifonwu back. We've added Navarro Bowman. Conley's still kind of be out, but this will be the healthiest and the most complete that the Raiders defense has been from this point going forward. So yeah, we'll see how they look over the next couple of games before the bye week. And then, you know, if something's going to happen, that's typically when it's going to happen. So I'm a little bit on board with what Jinx had to say there, but I'm still willing to give, you know, Ken Norton a little bit of grace, at least from this fan. And with that, you know, means absolutely nothing. So, but let's go one more before we take a break. This caller got cut off at the end, so we're going to go up to New York and talk to Joe. Joe, call us back. Joe had a great call going, and I don't know if it was Google Voice or what happened, but we lost him towards the end. So definitely give us a call back here on Raiders Fan Radio, and let's listen to what Joe had to say before he dipped out.
How are you? This is Joe from New York.
Love it.
I'm calling. I'm actually I'm really frustrated and just in shock of what's going on now with the season at 2-4. They look so good in the first 2 games, especially offensively, and they looked like, you know, it looked like it was going to be a really good season. Season's not lost yet, but this was the game you had to win, obviously, you know, against the Chargers, but you can't score 10 points, 16 points, 17 points, and expect to win week in, week out. The defense wasn't that bad today. Obviously, though, you let a team go to 82 yards to score a field goal after you dominated. This obviously falls on the coaching. They decided to get rid of Musgrave last year. I really don't know why. I didn't have a problem with the offense last year. They did a lot of good things on the Musgrave. Yes, the play calling wasn't that great, but at times.
Yeah, and there is where he cuts out.
First of all, Joe has the coolest accent that has ever called in the show in the history of us doing these podcasts here. Joe from New York, thanks for calling in, calling all the time, man. You deserve that voice deserves to be made, man. You know what I'm saying, Murf? Frustrated and shocked. I agree. And I think, you know, the 82 yards for the Chargers to drive down, to grind it, that might have been the most frustrating drive I have ever watched, Murf, of a Raider game. Because it was like, because we were already 2-3, you kind of knew, right? As soon as Phillip hit that pass to Henry to get him out of the.
What's his name?
Phillip. As soon as that guy who plays for the Chargers, as soon as he hit that first pass to Henry for 36 yards or something like that.
Ugh.
you were like, oh crap. It was like, here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go. And then, grind, run, bam, hits Hunter again. Grind, run, first down. And then they start setting it up, and you're just like, dude, you know what they're going to do, and you still can't stop them. Game is on the line at home. The better unit, the defense is on the field, and you still can't, oh, man.
Let's take the shortest guy on defense, too, by the way, and put him on Hunter Henry, who's like 6'9".
No, I love Carl Joseph, but if that was the call, if that was the play call, that's a bad matchup. Why are you putting Carl Joseph? That makes no sense. But Sean Smith on him. That's the guy Sean Smith he's a coverage tight end.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then here's the other deal. A couple guys have made mention that nobody was chasing Musgrave when he was a free agent, right? When the Raiders let him go, he didn't have a lot of opportunities. But that's not justification for firing him, right? Like I agree. I was on the bandwagon of, get him out of here. Raiders can't do no wrong. They just did 12-4. You want to live in my house? I'll be homeless for you, Raiders. Like they couldn't do no wrong at that point, right? But looking back, firing Musgrave, that might be the biggest mistake Del Rio has made. And do you think that might cost him that getting rid of Musgrave? I mean, we all liked it when it happened. We all couldn't stand him. But somehow Musgrave, he made Derek better. He challenged Derek. He wasn't Derek's friend. He was Derek's coach. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe Todd Downing is too much of Derek's friend, and he's not pushing Derek enough. Where Musgrave was like, dude, I've been coaching for 20 years, little buddy. I've seen great quarterbacks come and go. You're nothing special to me.
Yeah,
Shut
I
up
backed
and
up
go,
Joe Montana. So
shut up and go complete that pass over there, okay? I'll take care of it. You just do your thing, right? Maybe that's what Derek needed to be good, So I don't know, man.
I don't know. I mean, they let him walk because they didn't want to lose Downing, and I thought again at the time. I mean, everything's 2020, but at the time, and I still. The conceptually, that makes perfect sense. You got this, look at what Adam McVay has done for the Rams. Like, look what a young offensive mind can do. Look what John Gruden did, for crying out loud. I mean, you look at the guys that when you have a young, innovative offensive mind, Josh McDaniels, anybody, right? Like these types of guys, you don't want to let them go. And that's what everything pointed towards Todd Downing being. All of the evidence led to here's a young, up-and-coming, creative guy who's I mean, how many times do we talk about, hey, Downing's going to come in, he'll probably get, 1 or 2 good years with the Raiders, and then somebody will hire him to be a head coach. Like it was like, all right, go ahead and just pencil him in right now to be the Indianapolis Colts' next head coach. Like, just go ahead and do it. You know what I mean? Like, that was what the expectation was. So I don't think that it's completely unfair, even still now, to look back and think, okay, well, it sucks that Musgrave left because, when you look at what I think somebody worded it really well this week. I think I read on Twitter or something. They said that this is what happens when you sacrifice production for upside. And that's it. Wow, we had a very productive offense, and we sacrificed it for the upside of Todd Downing. And the upside is exactly what it is. It's an upside. It's not a guarantee. We knew what we had with Musgrave, and we rolled the dice on Todd Downing, and we haven't crapped out, but I think we rolled a 3. You know what I mean, or a 4. Like we're trying to roll. You know what I mean. We're trying to make a point with 2 twos. You know what I mean? Like it's whatever. But anyways, all right. So let's take one more quick break here before we go back out to the West Coast and talk to Jonathan in Reno Valley. But first, let's check in with Uncle Mosh and some information about the Raiders Fan Radio app.
Hey, Raiders fans, check this out. Raiders Fan Radio has got an app. I don't know what that means, but you do, because you're listening to this on a computer or something like that. Anyway, go to the Apple Store. Apple Store?
Apple Play Store?
Apple, nah.
No, Google Play.
Apple
has an app store. Google
App Store. You can get it at the Apple Store or the App Store or whatever that is. You can, if you got an Android, isn't that like a robot? You can go to Google Play Store. They got show links, they got downloads, they got all kinds of really cool stuff. Hey, if you can't figure it out, give it to a teenager. They know how to work these phones better than you do.
Hello, this is Jonathan Smith. I'm calling from Moreno Valley, California. First time caller. The game was pretty good defense game overall. I feel like the beginning going to the fourth quarter, we shouldn't ever went for a 4th and 1. We should have kicked a field goal, and then the quarter, less than 5 minutes ago, we should have punt fake and ran for the first down. Overall, we need to work on our free safeties. We need more help in our middle linebacker. That's pretty much it on my point of view of it. I think we just need help on defense. Maybe we just have to take this season and go in the draft and try to pick up a good player, a real fast middle linebacker or something. That's just my point of view. Go Raiders.
Thanks for your call, Jonathan. And I think your voicemail kind of echoes what this season hopefully doesn't turn into, but it's already starting to turn into. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Shouldn't have went for it, Jack, on a fake punt return on the opponent or your own 30-yard line, trying to run 17 yards with Marquette King. Should have not punted it against Denver on their 40-yard line. On their 40-yard line. Last year, Murf, the gambles paid off. This year, we're not even gambling. We're playing too conservative. And I think, like Jonathan said, defense played a good game overall. But this might be the year of shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Starts to build some common themes as we get through these phone calls. That's for sure. Is that and I don't like to change. Like if you're gonna hit 16 when you're playing blackjack, then always hit 16. If you're not gonna hit it, then don't ever hit it. If you're gonna go for it on 4th and short, then always go for it on 4th and short. But when you start going back and forth and questioning or whatever, that's when you start messing with the odds. Don't mess with the odds. Just stick to the plan. And in that case, that's the time where you do want to stick to the plan. But anyways. All right. So next up, we're going to go to, this might be my favorite call of the week. We're going to go to Gayle in Ohio.
Hi, this is Kaylee, and I'm in first place. Why do the Chiefs have a CH in their name? Because they cheat.
Oh, that's good. Kaylee, you just made my whole week. Thank you very much. That was a good voicemail. Good voicemail. That was good, Murf. That was good lightheartedness. We needed that.
Absolutely. Cleanse the palate.
A depressing show, man.
I know, right? Yeah, I thought she was fantastic. Thank you, Kaylee. Thank you for calling. And Kaylee, don't stay up too late listening to the podcast. You need to do your homework and get to bed on time.
Yeah. Do your homework.
That's right. All right, next up, we're going to go back out to not back out to the West Coast. We're going to go to the Southwest, and we're going to listen to Martin in Mesa, Arizona.
Hi, my name is Martin Mesa. I rep Raider Nation from Mesa, Arizona. Just wanted to touch up on a few things after this week's game, this week's blow to the Chargers. Of all teams, the Chargers. I think we all knew going into the season we were going to struggle defensively. Mac is pretty much the only constant on the defense. Still have a lot of work to do linebacker-wise, which is why I hope, the signing of Bowman comes to fruition. We need that veteran leadership, and offensively is where I think we're struggling the most. I was one of the few last year who never understood why so many fans wanted Musgrave out. Musgrave had us overall a top 10 offense. Now we're ranked 30th in the NFL as far as offense with arguably better weapons. Patterson and, in my opinion, Lynch, but, Lynch hasn't lived up to it as of yet. He got some good touches. He got plenty of touches today, but I think that's another thing we need to do and ditch that zone blocking, zone read, the running game style. We need to go back to playing smash mouth football and wear teams down. You know, as always, I'll always be a loyal Raider fan, win, lose, or tie. But, you know, something needs to change. We need to go in a different direction from where we're going now. Thanks, and go Raiders.
Thanks for the call, Martine in Mesa, Arizona. Of all the teams, the Chargers. I agree. Of all the teams, the Chargers. Murf, he echoed what I said earlier, man. Musgrave, you know, and Martine, he was ahead of it. At least he was ahead of it. I wasn't. I was, get out of here. But that's proving more and more to be an issue. One thing about Bowman, I know everybody's hyped because we picked up a linebacker. But Murph, you know what the record of the Niners was?
Oh, 0-6.
Yeah. 0-6 team said Bowman wasn't good enough to play a lot on their team.
Well, no, it was a money thing, dude. No.
They're still paying him. They're not
paying him $6.7 million.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
That's silly. Okay. Let's go to Ron in Alliance, Ohio.
Hey, guys. Ron from Alliance, Ohio. I think we gave Downing the keys to a Ferrari and forgot to find out if he could drive stick first. He's not doing too well for us, and I think that's probably going to be a majority of your calls. I just kind of had a question.
Yep.
I'm wondering if Cooper keeps slumping like this, what's that do for his contract when it's up? And if you guys think that's going to be problematic, because I'm assuming he's going to be wanting to be paid like a top flight wide receiver. And I don't know that he's really got that production to back that up. And with our cap situation, I'm just wondering what you guys thought about that. So thanks again. Looking forward to the show this week. I know it's probably going to be a lot of doom and gloom, so have some positivity for us, please. Have a good day, guys.
Yeah,
Be positive, Sonny. Help Ron out. Talk him off the cliff.
Sorry, Ron. You know, Murph, that's something I never even thought about, dude. Is this Cooper's contract year?
Next year, I think, right? 4 years?
Okay, yeah. So next year's year, he needs to play well, right? That's when his contract's due.
Uh-huh.
That's a big question mark. I didn't even think about that.
It's huge. It's huge, and especially considering the kind of money that the Raiders have already committed to Derek Carr and, you know, on all the offensive line, and Khalil Mack coming up, getting ready to break the bank. And, you know, despite his lack of production, well, we know why, right? It's not anything that he's done wrong. And then Coop was the next one of the three that we were anticipating was going to get the big payday, right? And so I think it's going to have a huge impact on that. He's not going to get paid as a top flight wide receiver. But here's also what I think about him too, that Amari Cooper is a way high character guy. Like he's not the kind of guy that's going to hold out or to hold the Raiders hostage or threaten or whatever. He'll be the kind of guy that'll quietly sign a big fat extension. You know what I mean? And he'll be a Raider for life. I mean, I'm not really worried about it, but I do think the Raiders are going to get a little bit of a discount. We might get 10% off on Amari Cooper. You know what I mean?
That's true. That I didn't even think about that. That's a good point, Ron. And you know, maybe this is growing pains. Maybe next year Todd Downing learns, you know, takes his lumps and brings us to the promised land. Who knows? But you're right, man. He could not handle. Maybe we leave Musgrave and let Downing do one more year under him with a little more emphasis on play calling. I don't know how you do it. Again, hindsight's 20/20, but Todd Downing is showing through 6 games his inability to adjust and his inability to waver from his idea, and quite frankly, his inability to see maybe the players' strengths and putting the players in position to be successful. He's failing in all 3 of those categories.
All right, well, last up, this is going to be a pretty funny one too. Last up, we're going to go to Sonny in Oregon. Yes, that's Sonny. Yes, that's Sonny in Oregon. And this is what we do, a little show on the evenings of game days, which is Sunday. Normally this week we're going to do Thursday. We do a show called the Raider Retort. You can find it on our Facebook page. If you go to the Raiders Fan Radio Facebook page and like us there, you'll see that we'll post up live reaction videos, and it's our chance to vent. It's our chance to, positive or negative, chance to get our rapid reaction, to get that out there, to get it off our chest, and to talk about the immediate response to Raider football. Well, this week we didn't have it, and Sonny had a little bit bottled up inside of him, and without the Raider Retort to let loose, he went ahead and called our show.
As I sit and watch Phillip Rivers dance gleefully on the field of the Oakland Raiders, I cannot help but feel like a dumb motherfucking piece of. Here's why. We were sold a bill of goods. We were all told this was a Super Bowl contending team. We were all told this was a playoff caliber team. We were all told this is a team of destiny. The Raiders suck. Period. They motherfucking bitch ass suck. Period. Todd Downing should be interviewing for a defensive coordinator position, as he is the only man who can stop Derek Carr. The only man in 2 years who can basically eliminate Derek Carr from being successful in the NFL. Are you kidding me? A hook and ladder on a third down when you are winning the game? That is a desperation call if I've ever
Oh, it's funny. I think it's safe to say that's how Raider Nation collectively felt after the Chargers game this last week.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't even realize what I said. I was drunk with freaking anger, Murph.
Oh, man, too funny. Too funny. All right, let's catch a break, and then we will come back. We got a couple
Hold on. One more. I want to read an email.
No, I got two. Let me finish, man.
Oh, okay.
Let's take a break, and then we'll come back. We got a couple emails to read, and then we'll close this thing out.
Okay, sounds good.
Hey, boys and girls, this is Uncle Mosh. I'm sitting here. I got my Raiders jersey on. I'm wearing my Raiders hat. I got my eye black under my eyeballs. I got my Raiders football in my hand. I'm wearing my silver and black underwear. If there was only a good podcast I can listen to about Raiders football, I would be so excited. But all I got is Sonny and Murf on Raiders Fan Radio.
Shut up, Josh's family.
All right, Sonny, we have a couple of emails. Do you want to read Travis's email? Want to
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll read Travis's. So
okay,
we got an email this
Travis.
week.
We have two of them, so go ahead and start us off with Travis.
Got an email this week from Travis Rayfield. If you want to email the show, just email the show at RaidersFanRadio.com. Travis emailed us actually last week on Wednesday. Hey, this is Travis Rayfield, and I have Down syndrome, living in Concord, California. And yes, I am a Raiders fan. I love Oakland Raiders and Las Vegas, Nevada Raiders as well. Let's begin. It began, my dad was a Raider in the 70s, and I became a Raider fan in the year 2000. In that time period when they were the best, Travis and my dad, Jeff, watching Raider games in the 2000 year. And in 2017, I remember when they in the playoffs, when they played New England Patriots in the year 2001. When the Tuck rule happened, it was the coach, Bill, who cheated to take the Raiders out of the 3 Super Bowl that year.
Yes, they did, Travis.
Yes, they did, Travis. And then 2003, they lost to Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl, 37. And then they lost all games for 15 years in a row. Now the new players, Derek Carr, the franchise quarterback, and Khalil Mack came, and more came after. But then it's chance last year, 2016. They finally won 12 games. It's been 15 years later, and he's proud of them. And now 2017, they're bringing Marshawn Lynch, the beast mode as a Raider. And now they won 2 games and lost 3 games because they lost their confidence in the game. But thank God Derek Carr returned back to play. We have a chance to win it. Hope they get their confidence back to help them win games. But that's what they wanted. Just win, baby. Travis, appreciate you taking the time to email the show. It's been a long journey. I've suffered along with you all of those years. I remember those games. I remember the Patriots game, the Tampa game, and just, miserable, right? It's been a long, tough ride, Travis. But hopefully We're building. We'll continue to build. We'll continue to make the team good. You know, for all of the negativity on the show today, it's just the frustration, right? It's just you're a fan. You're passionate about your fandom. And you're just so stinking frustrated, man. And maybe we all bought in the hype too much. But you know what, Murf? That's what being a fan, that's what you do, man. Especially a Raider fan. 13 years of not even dismal performances, of laughable performances. 13 years of atrocity, not just a couple of games. 13 years of atrocity. Can you really blame us for seeing the team win 12 wins and all of us just freaking out? Like, what were we supposed to do? Go, oh, they won 12 games. That's cool. Like, you know, it's like,
yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, we've been starving for 13 years and somebody just handed us a saltine. We're like,
yeah,
hey.
You know, it's like what you expect us to do, right? So, Travis, I agree, man. Despite all of the frustrations, despite all of it, I still believe this team can be successful. I still believe they're going to win every game the rest of the year. They're going to be 12-4 to finish out the year, Murph. I still believe in the team. I believe in Carr. I believe in Mac. I don't think there's any weird conspiracies of the offensive line trying to hurt Carr or whatever else crazy things happen on the internet. Just things aren't clicking right now. I think there might be something up in the locker room that maybe they need to squash. Who knows what happens with that kind of stuff, you know? But people are people. They're fallible. They're not perfect. And so hopefully – I was texting earlier on the Raider Ramble chat. They all should go out and get drunk, get in a fight, and then at 2 o'clock in the morning have the conversation about how they all love each other. Let's get back on the same page, right? Raiders need to get back on the same page, be that team they were last year, having fun, playing football, outrunning everybody, out hitting everybody. We know they can do it. They just need to get back to it, man. So I agree, Travis. It's been a long ride. There's good times ahead. I just hope they come sooner than later.
Thank you again, Travis. Next up, we hear on email from Geraldine Wozniak. Geraldine emails us at show@RaidersFanRadio, and she introduces herself. She's 25 years old, and she's a huge Raider fan. She hopes the Raiders win this season. And, Geraldine, we couldn't agree with you more that it's been so disappointing to see the 2-4 start. But as Sonny just mentioned, you know, there are some good things, and there is positive things to happen. And we've also had I believe it was Ron said, you know, this is going to be a downtrodden week. Like, you know, give us some positivity. And so Geraldine and Ron and everybody else, man, it's still better. Isn't it funny that after all of this, it's still better than it was? It's still better than, you know, Carlos Rogers and Terrell Brown as our two starting cornerbacks. Like, remember those days, folks. Remember, obviously, Jamarcus is the easy one to point at, but, you know, remember, you know, Andrew Walter and, you know what I mean? And I mean, the list is endless. You know, Tom Walsh and Norv Turner, Kerry Collins. And, you know, what about when we saw, you know, when we saw Carson Palmer throw a pick six to lose the game on the road in Atlanta, Sonny, when the first time we traveled, you know, you traveled literally across the country to Atlanta, and we went to that game and were let down by Carson Palmer in the last second of the game. Like, think back to all those times, Raider Nation. Even as bad as it is now, it's still not that bad. And the reason is because as an overall, we're pretty healthy as an organization. So keep the faith, keep your head up. You know, I know you're all going to be proud to be Raider fans because we all will be no matter what. But, you know, let's just grip onto those positive things, man, because right now that's all we got. So Geraldine, thank you for emailing the show. And once again, if you want to contact us via email, show@RaidersFanRadio. The hotline is 909-345-3346. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us at Raiders Fan Radio just about on all social media platforms. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. We are now not only available as far as consuming the show, we're available on iTunes. We're available on Google and all those things, including CastBox now is a new podcasting service. You can find the show there. It is really hard to not find Raiders Fan Radio and how to get in touch with us. It was a simple, you know, even a Google search, and you can find us. So please contact the show. Thank you for everybody that reached out to us tonight, regardless of the medium, whether, we read them all. Sonny and I are talking all week long about our interactions with you all, and it's amazing. And it's been the best blessing of this show is the feedback and the community that is Raider Nation. And so keep them coming. And, I hope you guys listening tonight enjoyed us kind of breaking format and just talking to the fans, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
And I think here's the other thing, Murf. If you weren't feeling any pain, then you're not a fan. That's the only statement I'll make about true fandom or not. If you're okay with this, then check your fandom at the door. Like the reason it hurts is because you're a fan, because you're passionate about the team. And I think the reason it hurts more is because we got a taste of what it was like last year. Like we were there. Like it was clicking. We were winning games we shouldn't have won. We were converting on plays we shouldn't have converted on. Like it was like a magical year. And for a brief period, for a brief 16-game period out of 14 years of misery, we finally had something to be grateful for. We finally had something to be happy about. And I got to think last year, while it was the exception to the rule is going to continue to change, and this team will be better than what they've been. It has to. We have stability at positions we've never had stability at. We still have one of the best edge rusher in the game. We have one of, if not the best quarterback in the game, and we have a superstar quarterback somewhere in Amari Cooper's head that is going to come out eventually. Hopefully Todd Downing rights the ship. I believe he will. I don't believe that was a stupid hire. I question his ability to run an entire offense on his own at this point. But I have to believe that the Raiders did their homework, just like I believe they did their homework on Conley and Obi. Maybe it was just a catastrophic season of injuries and bad timing to hire a new offensive coordinator. You never know, right? You just never know what happens behind the scenes. So for all the frustration, for all the comments about it being an atrocity, it hurts because we're fans, and you take it. I'll take last year. I'll take that feeling of being there Sunday night against the Broncos, beating them. I'll take feeling that electricity any day of the week if I have to go through an episode like tonight of just like what the hell's going on. You know what I'm saying, Murf? Because like that was worth it. I'll take beating the Saints on a 2-point conversion. I'll take Carr coming out of the tunnel and beating the Panthers. I'll take the Dread Pirate game against Tampa. If it takes going through this to get there, then I want both. Because before we had nothing. At least now we have a glimmer of hope that it's there and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So it feels like right now we're in episode 5. Yeah. The Empire. The Empire's striking back, right? Derek Carr last year was the Return of the Jedi. Carr comes in, the black glove, and and life's good. This year, the Empire strikes back, but guess what's going to happen next year, Murph? We know how the story ends. Return of the Jedi, right? So
that's it.
So keep the faith, Raider Nation. Thanks again to Austin Gayle for joining us on what might be the saddest show we've ever done. But again, this is all about a cathartic experience for you in Raider Nation. You're not alone in your feelings. If you're critical of the team, that doesn't mean you're not a fan. That means you're more of a fan because you're passionate and you care. Hopefully the Raiders right the ship, and it'll be okay. It'll be okay. And watch what happens Thursday. Maybe the Raiders come out and throttle the Chiefs, get their confidence back, and we go off and do an unprecedented run in NFL history. It could happen, Murph. It could happen. So, until then, thanks for tuning in. Check us out, RaidersFanRadio.com, Twitter, Raiders Fan Radio, Facebook, Raiders Fan Radio. Appreciate all the voicemails. That makes our day, man. We would love to just do a show where we just listen to voicemails all day and talk about it. We think that'd be so cool. We're here to represent the fans, and you can be objective and subjective and pissed and frustrated because that's what being a fan's about. So thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Go Raiders. And as always, it's Raider Nation, wherever, forever.
Hi, this is Kaylee, and I'm in first base. name. Because they cheat.